Alright guys, so we're back out here today again. We're going to work on Jordan's car. We're going to try and at least set the motor and transmission in today and see what other kind of parts we can hang around it. But she picked up some engine enamel for me, but it's really humid because it's raining right now, so I'm not going to spray. And I can't move the white car out, and I don't want to get overspray on my car, Jordan's car, or anything like that. So we're just going to wait and hopefully try and get those either painted tomorrow or Friday. So I guess we'll see what the weather looks like and go from there, maybe even this weekend. Realistically, the intercooler doesn't have to go in right away, but we can start dressing it with just about everything else at that point. Once the motor and transmission's in, at least up to the charge pipes, the intercooler, and things like that. But starter, intake manifold, throttle body, all that stuff can go in. Actually, the throttle body can't because I gotta wait on the gasket. But I did forget that I have to put the water pump inlet tube in the motor, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna stuff that guy in, and then we're gonna set the cherry picker down, hang the motor off of it, put the stock flex plate and everything back on it because I do need that for the spec clutch that he has. And then I'll get the transmission out of the car, and while the motor's hanging, we'll get it closer to the ground, stuff the transmission on. We are going to use the DCR bell housing stud kit, so that should make it pretty easy to get it to line up and onto the engine itself, and then just put all the flex plate bolts in, bolt the two brackets on. You got the one underneath for the engine support, and then there's the other one that goes below the starter. It's another support bracket that goes from the block itself to the bell housing, and then the other one goes from the pan to the bell housing. But we can get all that stuffed in and get that dressed, and we'll get all that stuff bolted together, and then we'll set it all in the car, and then start hanging everything else off of that. So give us a few here, and I'm going to start stuffing parts in. Like I said, it is a gloomy day out here, which is a bummer, because that holds up some progress. But regardless, that just gives us more time with this car here, and then like I said, we can focus, make a good big push with it, and then when we get some weather, we can get the white one back out. And then paint should actually be here today from Summit, so we can paint the floor. And then blew the roll cage. So when I blew the roll cage, we're gonna not do probably this much. I'll probably not do this 4 inches or so, and we might weld a bar that goes from here to here, here to here. I'm not 100% sure yet, so I don't want to glue it and have that be a problem when we try to weld it. But we can get the rest of it done at least. So let's get going on this red car. We get the motor and trans in, and now it's sunny and beautiful outside. It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's got a pretty big jump here. Ended up putting the clutch in, got the engine support bracket here, got the engine and transaxle support in. All of those bolts are in and tight. The clutch, everything is in and tight, so I don't have to go underneath the car and fight with that stuff. Put the starter in already, just because we were there. This one is an intake manifold bolt, and I have to get that. Actually, no, it's this one. This one's the intake manifold bolt, because if you look at the manifold, actually, let me go get his. So if you look at the manifold, there's a bracket right here. That bracket goes to that hole in the starter because it supports it and takes some stress away from the manifold flange itself. So when I put this together, or when I put the manifold on, I'm gonna have to take this bolt out, set the manifold on, and put this in after. But at this point, everything's out of the way. I got the radiator and stuff, and it's gonna be the easiest right now to try and work to mount the plate and then the AC compressor and power steering. So I'm gonna do all that stuff while I got the radiator out of the way and the intake manifold, and then we'll really start making progress. So let's start running out of parts. We got the AC compressor in, power steering pump is in, all the brackets and everything are there, tensioner's there, just got to tighten the bolt. I also got the coolant hard line in, and everything else is pretty much, I mean, we're getting super close to running out of parts here, at least until we get the parts we need to really start moving forward. Probably going to stick some factory radiator hoses in it for now, and then if he wants to go with some red ones or something like that afterwards, then he can do that. But everything else is coming out pretty nice. Probably just get the shifter cables hooked up tonight, lay the harness in it. I'm going to try and get the thermostat housings and intake manifold on, and at least the lower radiator hose. That way everything under the front end over here is going to be done and easy, and I don't have to mess with it. And then when I get the intercooler plates painted, then we can stuff the intercooler and the brackets on, and then do the cold side pipe when the tile blow-off valve gets here, and the throttle body gasket for the Modern Performance, because that's also back ordered. So kind of, like I said, we're getting to a point where we're going to start running out of parts and things that I'm going to be able to do, so I might start working on the body parts, but at the same time I can also start working on the engine for my car. So just depends on how I feel, where I'm at, and where we're getting stuff done, because I wanted to try and drive the car before we put any body panels on it, but that might just be the case where we end up doing that anyway because of time. So while we wait for the parts, we'll get done what we can. I do have the water line blocked off that goes back to the oil cooler. We just use the bung plug on that, or pipe plug on that guy, and then a hose clamp to dead end it. So that one's not there, it's blocked off in the block. Same with the water line for the turbo. And then we just got to block this one off as well. So I got a short piece of hose, which is right here, that comes, and then you use the HEP turbo water block off kit for that. So it's just a little plug that they stuff in the end, clamp it down, good to ride. So let me keep dressing this thing up, see how far we can get, see where I end up with parts. And then realistically, by the time we get to that point though, guys, I could probably go through all the remaining parts here for the engine, and then just throw everything in the back that I'm not going to need. So it's looking good. Let's keep going. So they do have the power steering lines and everything hooked up, bolted to the block. There is a tab down here that's got a little metal bracket that goes to one of the engine support bolts that I had to take back out and put in because of that. But that's in. So now I think what I'm gonna try and end up doing is I got all the harness laid in. It's hooked up to just about everything except for the coil and the noise suppressor, which is now hooked up. Usually I delete those, but for this car for now, we'll just go ahead and we'll leave it on. What I should actually work on is getting a slave out, but I don't have a whole lot of room to open the door. What I want to do is actually set this thing back on the ground and then get it over this way some more. That way I can open up that driver's door, get under the dash, and get the bolts off for the slave cylinder, and then get the bolts undone and the push rod for the clutch master, and then try and push all that stuff through. That way when the line gets here, I can just go ahead and cram it all in. But definitely making a big leap. Big leap. I think what I'm gonna have left, or what I really have left now, other than body parts, is all the fuel system fittings and lines and all that stuff is here. So I can get the filter put in the back, get the feed line coming from the tank to filter, and then from filter to stock feed, and then get the fuel line made to come off of the factory feed, loop that guy over. I'm gonna put the regulator right here, put the washer bottle down there. I think I am gonna try and go ahead and put the manifold on. I do have everything plugged in. Now the sensor on the compressor is kind of busted, so the lock tab's not there, and I'll just have to let Jordan know about it. Get another pressure switch and have somebody stick one in. I don't have snap ring pliers small enough to get that thing out, unfortunately, so there's not really much I'm going to be able to do with that. Not even really a good spot where I can try to zip tie to it, unfortunately, just to keep it there. But at least from now, at least at this point, it's something that's going to be easy enough to get to from underneath of the car. So when he takes it up to a shop to have them charge the system, he could probably go ahead and get that set up to have them do the pressure switch there. It just, like I said, it's a snap ring in the back of the compressor. Pull the snap ring, pull the sensor, put the new sensor in with some lube on the O-ring so you don't damage it, put the snap ring back in it, plug it in, should be ready to rock. The connector itself looked good. It was just the bottom of the connector on the pressure switch on the back of the compressor itself. So it is what it is, unfortunately. But I do got Ryan Shea's shifter bushings in, and man, they actually feel really good. Getting there, guys. Let's try and get the radiator hose, manifold, upper thermostat housing, and battery tray. I might wait on the battery tray. I might wait on that until the clutch slave is actually done. It doesn't take long to stuff in, really. I still got to take this bolt out, so when I put the manifold in, I could put it in. But other than that, though, guys, got a lot done on this car so far. Let's keep going, see how far we get tonight. Looks like the rain's gonna pick up here, so let me roll this tire in. Actually, it sounds like sleet. Oh, it is. Wow. It's sleeting, guys. Actually, that's hail. Very small hail. Well, that's no good. Let's see if I can grab one here. Oh, it looks like a lot of them are breaking by the time they hit the ground. But yeah, there's sleet though. You can hear it. Poor car. I need to get this project done so I can get my blue one inside. But no, that probably won't happen for a little while, actually, because as soon as this one's done, Garrett's black car is going to come in. So that car should be here by the time this one's done. So unless for some reason we get to a point where this car is just that damn close and it's going to be like a week or 2 weeks on the turbo still, I might push this thing outside at that point and start working on the motor and everything for that blue car. So, but like I said, we're going to try and run out of the parts on this guy. My paint was supposed to be here at some point today for this car. I don't know if it's still going to show. I know. I just shut the door. Anyway, I get the floor painted, blew the cage, and then kind of just clean this car up. There's not really a whole lot I want to change. I did order a set of 15s, so I'll go ahead and I'll get those mounted as soon as those guys get here. So those will be here before we go back to the track. So when I go, we're going to take the 13s, we're going to take 15s. If the track's there, we'll run the 13s with more air pressure. If the track's not there, we'll run the 15s with less air pressure and see what we can do with the track. So it's going to be nice having these wheels because I was thinking about getting some for the blue car to race on normally, and then when we want to do something fancy or, you know, make it look really good for a specific track day or a good show, then I'll put the white ones on it and we'll bring it out on those guys. So those won't be a full-time deal because I don't want to have to clean nice white powder coated wheels all the time from the brake dust because we are going to run track pads. So that will pose itself to be a little bit of an issue when trying to keep something like that clean, because dirty pads, white wheels, not going to party together too well. So at least with the other way, we'll be able to track, look good. I'll have options for this car when we go to the track. So if, like I said, the track's there, we can use 13s. Track's not there, we'll use 15s with less tire pressure, and hopefully achieve the same 60 foots and be able to go back and forth depending on what it is we got. Enough about that car, enough about my other cars. Let's get to working on this one. Went inside to get a tool to make this job easy. And yeah, so we got some interesting skies here. So clearing up, because it was just raining like crazy here. I didn't look at the radar to see which way it's going. But if you look that way, it's not that bad. They start coming this way, she gets dark. Real dark. So, ooh. We got some lightning on that one. Guess that was a good time for me to get out here so you guys could see that. But yeah, it must be moving that way, because I could have swore we heard that lightning and it was hailing and stuff briefly. So it is cooling off quite a bit though. Wife was giving me shit for not having my propane tanks out here. Turn the heater on. That might happen. We might get them filled up tomorrow or something if it gets cold, but let's keep going. So there has been some port work done to this manifold. They opened it up at the throat anyway. So that's all right. Here, hard to see, but it goes right there. There's that bracket is. I'd have to rotate the starter ground here. Yep, okay. I can still get to it, so that's fine. Actually, it is still loose, so let's do that right now. Just realized this. I'm an idiot. I was gonna take this dryer piece out, but with it being unhooked from the rear and flexible here and here, I might still be okay trying to get that thing out. It was just a lot easier being able to wiggle the lines like that, but I'm gonna drop the washer fluid out now, washer fluid bottle out now. We'll get the, I'm gonna probably go ahead and take the nut and bolt out of this upper motor mount, because we do have his red ones. I just gotta put them in yet. So, but when I'm gonna take that out, I'm gonna try and see if I can worm this thing out of here without nicking anything, and then get that, whatever that white hazy stuff is, get it cleaned up, stick it back together. Let's go. So, got quite a bit done. I ended up, camera died and I had to wait for the other one to charge, so I didn't do any filming with it, but I got my fuel feed line made, so it goes from the factory feed, and it's gonna bring that to the regulator, and then from the regulator to the rail. And then the return lines that I had some dash 4 braided lines that were already done up, and apparently they're too small. Or one's too short, one's too long. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I gotta go inside and I'm gonna order some parts. I'm gonna do another push to lock, or push to connect fitting here. And I'll probably take that off and I'll do a 45, so it'll come back this way, and then 45 that way, and then we'll follow the AC lines, and we'll tie that into the return line, which comes off right here at the end of my finger. So yeah, return line right there. So we'll bring that over, and we'll be good to go. Now, with this, it is set up pretty nice. Got to clean it up a little bit, but mounting the fuel pressure regulator here definitely put me in a pretty happy spot with that, just as long as it clears the hood, which I think it will. I'll have to just double check that when I put a hood on it. I guess if I have to, what I would do is just space put some longer bolts here and then drop it down. So I would just use a spacer, and then I can change the angle on this to bring it up to compensate that, you know, like that, take some stress away from it or whatever. Also got to get a gauge for this, so we'll get a gauge, we'll get the return line parts ordered, get all that stuff coming. But right now, I mean, we're in a pretty good spot, guys. Got a lot done. I gotta wait for the turbo to get here so I can do the hot side pipes. So that'll be from turbo to under the motor, and then under the motor to intercooler. I'm also waiting on the turbo until I do the valve cover, because I'm gonna pull the valve cover off, give me a little bit more room to work with, get the turbo in it, and then we'll put the valve cover and stuff back on, coil plugs, wires, what have you there, get all that plugged in. Got to put a fuse in the fuel pump rewire yet, replace the relay in the back. I got to take care of the fuel pump connection back there, because they got it tied in for 2 pumps. So I got to get rid of the one connector, fix the lead going from that connector to the relay, and then we're pretty much ready to rock there, because the ground, well, I got to fix the ground too, because they spliced that in. So that'll be easy enough, because I'm probably just going to ground it right off the pump right to the body. I'm not going to send it back down through the circuit. So we'll take care of that stuff at the back of the car. I do have all the fuel filter parts, wiring for the turbo choice. I got to get that taken care of yet. So I got the connectors for that. The rest of the powertrain stuff, I got to do axle seals, put the axles in it. Rest of it's already there. Just got to take the 2 spindle nuts off, kind of pull it back, change the seal, shove the axle in, or shove the intermediate shaft and axle on this side, and then change the seal and put the axle shaft in on this side. Pretty much that's probably going to be a wrap for powertrain stuff. And then really I can start focusing on, you know, body panels if it's to a point where I'm waiting on parts to get here to move forward. My paint didn't show up for this one today, so we just kept focusing on this one, and I really wanted to, because I was on such a good roll. I was already moving parts and downsizing on stuff, and I got a ton of shop space back over here. I also have a bunch of box space now, and then the bolts, so I don't have all these polished parts sitting here that I'm not worried about damaging. Got the intake manifold and stuff in, so realistically the trunk's pretty well cleared out too. So intake pipe, intercooler, ETS hot side pipe, 2 strut tower bars. The P-Works one we're not going to use. I'm going to wait until the turbo's in to put the lower motor mount in, because when I put it in, I'm going to undo the upper dog bone, let the motor come forward a bit. We'll set the turbo in it, that way I got as much clearance as possible, and then we'll go ahead and we'll rock all that stuff back. Get the intercooler mounted to the body. I'll go ahead and set the car on the ground. We'll start, I'll actually, while I'm doing the axles, I'll probably put some ride height in the front, and then when I go to the back to work on the rest of it, then I will put some ride height back there as well. So once I get to that point though, once the axles are in, wheels and tires on it, we'll set it on the ground, and then I'll push it forward and I'll get it moved over a couple feet towards this way, and then I will be able to actually open this door, and then I can go inside and start taking stuff off to get the master cylinder out for the clutch. And then as soon as the line gets here, I can get all that stuff back in. But as far as that goes though, today guys, I'm getting pretty hungry. Haven't eaten anything since I've been out here. So it's 9:10. I've been out here for like 9 hours straight, almost 10. We're gonna wrap this one up, guys. I do appreciate you checking it out. Definitely check out Instagram and Facebook. Like I said, we're keeping these up to date with the cars. It's easier for me to post there in the meantime while I'm on vacation and doing this, because I have such a ton of footage. I'm using the time I can to work on the car. So I'm putting pictures up of the progress. I'll get the video up here as soon as I can to you guys. But yeah, anyway, I know I'm rambling on. I'm gonna go inside, get some dinner, and hang out with the wife for the night. And then I'll wake up tomorrow and start pumping out some footage here and see what I can get done. So in the meantime, until I get back out here and get some more footage for you guys, you have yourself a good one. Stay safe, and we will see you at the track. Thanks.